What's up, guys? It's KH Fan Duncan here. Before I get to my album review, I like to wish everybody a happy Memorial Day. But that's not why this video is being made. This is my first album review in quite some time. And I am reviewing the new album from legendary thrash metal band Megadeth entitled Super Collider. This is their 14th album, and it's their first album on their new record label, which is like Universal or something. I don't even know. Since they left Roadrunner, which I think is a shame because that was a better label for them. And this is a follow-up to their 2011 release, 13. Now, you guys probably know me as a huge Megadeth fan. I've been in love with this band ever since I got into metal. When I first heard them, I first heard Peace Sells, and I was just floored, and I was just hooked ever since. And for those who may or may not know, my all-time favorite record, like period, out of every CD I've ever listened to, Rust in Peace by Megadeth is my all-time favorite record, period. Nothing will ever top that, in my opinion. But then again, this album, I was expecting something along the lines of what 13 brought to the table back in 2011, but it did, but it was 10 times more mediocre. My God, I don't know what was going through Megadeth, Dave Mustaine's mind when he wrote this record. I mean, this album is absolutely fucking boring. I mean, the title track, when that was released, I just wanted to punch something and destroy something because of how bad this song was. It was incredibly mediocre, very repetitive, uninspired, and it's like a radio rock song, but just with a more heavier edge to it. And then recently they released their single for the song Kingmaker, which is actually the opening track on the record. And that actually happens to be one of the better songs on this record. And for those who may or may not know, they actually have a special guest on this album, which is David Draymond of Disturbed and Device, called Dance in the Rain. He doesn't show up until about midway through the song, but it's actually surprisingly, as much as I hate to say it, I was expecting this to be one of the worst songs on the album, but it actually ended up being one of the better songs on the album, because I thought he was just going to like take over the entire song, but it actually ended up fitting in well in parts of the song, and I honestly thought it was a pretty killer song. But the rest of the album just plain sucks. I mean, what was going on when Mustaine was writing this? This is the most mediocre thing he's written since Risk. And that was a pretty bad album, in my opinion. The guitar playing on this album is pretty damn solid, like on any record for Megadeth, because they're mostly known for their guitar work. Chris Broderick, his solos on this album are pretty damn they're pretty damn impressive, obviously. I mean, there's barely any solos, like there's probably like maybe 3 or 4 solos on there that really grabbed my attention on the record. David Ellefson's bass, always audible as in every Megadeth album that he's ever in, but it just it didn't have that punch to it like I usually hear from David Ellefson's bass. And then the drums by Sean Drover are just kind of meh. Like, I'm not impressed by the drums on this album at all. Nothing really impressed me. Like, the last time I was really impressed by the drums for Megadeth was, like, probably United Abominations. I mean, Endgame had some killer drums on there, but it wasn't nearly as impressive as it was on United Abominations. And then Dave Mustaine's vocals are just, they sound so polished on this record. I mean, it's just, If Dave Mustaine wants to be heard on the record, I'd rather hear him at his natural voice, nothing polished whatsoever. I mean, I'll give the record this. This is actually a pretty damn well-produced album. But just like I said, the whole entire album itself is just mediocre. Dave Mustaine, I think he should just use his natural voice instead of just polishing it and making it sound like it was actually him when it really wasn't. It's happened on the last few records from Megadeth, but I don't think this album really cuts it. I mean, this is, in my opinion, the worst Megadeth album that has come out since Risk. 13 was not that great of a record either, but I actually enjoyed that record a lot more than I did this one. But that's probably because I've listened to that album more than I have Super Collider. So yeah, I'm not really happy with this record. I'm very disappointed. This is probably the biggest disappointment of the year so far for me. This is almost like the new Nile album last year. That was a huge disappointment. But this is definitely a pretty big disappointment for me. I mean, yeah, what can I really say? Megadeth, I mean, I don't mind them making more music as the years go on, even as old as they're getting, but I think they should just make an album that I think makes every fan happy, because this is probably going to make a lot of Megadeth fans upset, I'm sure. It upset me, so I'm not very happy with this record. I'm not a fan of it at all. I mean, there's a few good tracks on there, but the rest is just plain boring, in my opinion. This album, I thought, was just pretty bad. So if I were to give this album a score, I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10. Really poor album. I mean, it's not even worth buying, in my opinion. I mean, if you like Megadeth, if you're a diehard Megadeth fan, and you obviously like them, then you should go buy it if you want to support the band. I mean, I don't know if I want to buy this album, but if you like it, that's fine. It's just my opinion. What did you guys think of this album? Just tell me your thoughts in the comments below. Cover Killer Nation will be putting up a review of this album later on today, I believe. So look forward to that. His review will be in the description below as well. So I'm going to conclude this review. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you all for subscribing. I'll see you guys later. Peace out and keep it metal.